Are you sitting comfortably? Because we are about to bring you some of the most exciting action and entertainment that you can have on a Sunday afternoon. Welcome to Bordeaux, wherever you may be. It's going to be great. History has already been made this weekend. Bundy, yes, his 100th win late last night. We've all been on the strong coffee to keep going, but the adrenaline is still pumping. It's fairly calm out there at the moment, but it's the final. We will have very shortly another world champion. FEI Driving World Cup. Here we are already at the final in Bordeaux, 2024-25 season. It's been absolutely incredible. 4 different winners we've had over the course of this series. It's felt more equal, more egalitarian, closer than ever. The margins have been tiny. Look at 0.1 separating first and second places. Everybody has brought out their A game this series, and it has given us some fantastic sport. 8 legs. We started in Lyon, in France. We do the full circle, travel around Europe and come back to France for the opening event and then the final here in Bordeaux. But in early November, my goodness, it feels like a lifetime ago, it was Dries Degrieck who took the win there. Who can forget Ijsbrand in London? Has to be one of the many highlights of this series, but it really was something that none of us will ever forget. So close up of Dries didn't go his way last night. There's no doubt about it. That second obstacle was really challenging for him. Boyd, everything went his way last night, as we've come to expect. He did so well in the second and third legs. How he won the third leg, nobody's quite sure, because it was a very colourful competition for everybody involved. Dries back on top form at the halfway point in Stockholm, and that's when he beat Boyd in the power struggle that has gone on all series. Back into Geneva. Boyd hadn't been there for a few years, 3 years, but came back and was on winning form at the second of our Christmas shows, and that London leg. Watch and watch it again just for that reaction. And then it was the turn of the sun. We went from father to son, and it was Bram who rose to the top in a flurry of sand and fibre in Mechelen just after Christmas, and then rounding off the series as our last qualifying leg winner in Leipzig. Not forgetting Jerome Voutaz and Koos de Ronde, who have also been so close to it, been on the podium either in competition 1 or 2 during the course of our 8 qualifying events. Lovely recap there. Quite nostalgic in some ways. Confirming now, you'll remember this is a final, so we do have this different scoring system. Boyd, as the winner last night, starts with an advantage. He had the advantage of being the last in, so he could watch everybody else's rounds. And for a master strategist, my goodness, that plays into his hand, doesn't it? And so we have 50% of the difference between Boyd's score and what came after him. So the total of the time, which is the time on the clock plus those 4 extra penalties. So how quick's your mental arithmetic? But I will just run through. The difference in time between Ijsbrand and Boyd was 3.7 seconds. So that translates to Ijsbrand starting with 1.85 on the clock. We then go to Bram, who was in 3rd place. The difference between him and Boyd was 4.18. So that translates to 2.09. We're halving these differences, 50%. It actually makes more sense when you see it on your screens like that. Koos de Ronde, who was 4th but only a hair's breadth behind Bram. He was our only clear round last night. 4.81 seconds between him and Boyd. That translates to 2.4. It's almost like a handicap that they carry on with them. Next was Dries Degrieck, who started with such promise. I don't know if you've had a chance to re-watch it. But that, yes, that was his nemesis last night. Jerome Voutaz's second marathon-style obstacle, numbers 4 and 10. You can just see the tall Dutchman going along the top of our titles there. He's out with his measuring sticks, readjusting as we go on. So Dries was 10.63 behind Boyd. That translates as him starting with 5.32. Jerome Voutaz, 20.84 was his difference. That means he's starting with a 10.42 on the clock. And Benjamin Aillaud, who was the first to go last night and also is here as our wild card, he was 23.14 behind, and that means that he starts with 11.57. The purpose of this is because it's a final and we want every round to count. So the whole performance leads us to the final placings. So although it's very important what happens in the here and now, you do have to cast your mind back to what is being added on. I'm sure our clever technical people on the other side of this will be having running totals going to all at once. So confirmation of the start list. So this is the reverse order in which they started last night. Not too far off actually, the rankings and our starting order at 11 o'clock local time. So Benjamin will be first in with his Lusitanos, then followed by Jerome Voutaz with his Swiss horses. Dries in third, Koos de Ronde, very, very little between him and Bram. It's been like that once or twice this series as well. He's our fourth starter. Bram Chardon, our defending and reigning champion. Pretty close to Boyd on time. There was very little between them, but Bram had an expensive 8 to add, whereas Boyd had 4. That's the difference. Ijsbrand looked a little bit rueful at the end of his round last night. He posted the fastest time at that point, but he'd done enough just to put himself in front of Koos at the end of his round. And then, of course, Boyd, who also had one down. Koos was the only one to have the clear, but his time, as we've seen so many times over the years, really was up several notches. We'll recap Boyd's time, and don't forget we are running over the same course on this first one. 3 drivers will go through to the drive of 3 only, but it all counts. Boyd's time was 1:51.83, so that is the time that they will have been analysing. Not quite the gap between competitions 1 and 2 in a final that we have at other events, but they will have used the time to go through their own rounds, go through each other's rounds, work out their splits where they want to be on the clock at certain points on the course. Very important. Each of them and their crews, the navigators behind, those on the bottom step, people on the ground, they all have their own tactics and their points where they know where they want to be. An awful lot of thought and planning goes into it. We've just had a French winner, actually, for the Grand Prix show jumping in the class just before this. And that really does fire up an already very passionate and supportive audience here in the Parc d'Exposition in Bordeaux. We are currently near the very wide, big, this great big suspension bridge quite near the venue over the Garonne River, and we're on the banks of the big Bordeaux Lac as well. Of course, this region of the world, so famed for its wine production, also its trade. We are in a very big port city, UNESCO heritage sites. It is known as the Pearl of Aquitaine. We've got a slightly different layout. It confounded a few of us that have been regulars at the shows in the last few years, and they've done an about turn of the arena. But actually everything's flowing well. It was to enable the FEI stabling to be separate from the domestic stabling, but in comes the man of last night. He's got Emma Olsen there with him and Wannes Larsson. And at home, I'm sure you will just give an extra cheer to his wonderful Bundy, who, before the World, scored his 100th World Cup win out of 145 starts. What a horse. In trots Bram, who will have been thinking hard about what he can do to retain his crown. Starts with a slight disadvantage, has a little bit to add on to it. In effect, it's about a ball between those three, Ijsbrand, Bram and Koos behind Boyd. Koos de Ronde only clear last night. Dries Degrieck, let's see how number 10 goes for him today. Concentrating. Tara Wilkinson on there. And Kim van Holder. And we've watched Kim have to hold on very, very tight during the course of some of their extremely fast rounds. Jerome Voutaz with his wonderful Swiss horses, and there he is. Known as the Iceman for his cool head, but we know how quickly he can explode into passion and energy and winning ways. They all have their own quite distinctive look and team colours, and Benjamin Aillaud, who is joined on the carriage by Magali, Mrs. Aillaud on the bottom step there, and Helen Ravat. With the Lusitanas, the Portuguese breed, as of course you know that, Fez, Fruto, Famoso and Fiasco. So he will be first in. Had that remarkable second finish in Lyon. Really very exciting and not easy, as we say each time, when you're coming in and out on these wild card tickets. You just don't have the week in, week out. I mean, Benjamin, what an incredible horseman he is, and actually sponsored by our supporters of the Driving World Cup this weekend, and we are very grateful to La Tierre de Montaigu, the food and dairy company, who do so much for French horse sport. And Caroline, who's one of their family directors, is a familiar face during our prize givings. Oh, a little bicker there. They're quite fired up. They know what's coming, and look at them with their tricolour bands on their leg boots. So at home, or wherever you may be tuning in, whatever screen you're watching, large or small, it is great to have you with us. You are watching live in Bordeaux the 23rd FEI Driving World Cup Final. The series, the World Cup series, started for the FEI a long, long time ago, actually, with the jumping in Sweden. You might remember I mentioned that when we were there for the fourth leg. Then dressage joined the World Cup repertoire driving, and also there's the vaulting as well. Interesting design of hats. They do seem to change each year when we make our annual trip to Bordeaux. If you've been watching any of the show jumpers, they're looking increasingly like motorcycle helmets with these big sort of solid loops that come around behind the ears. Ben's got a bit of a hybrid, but of course head protection and safety, the importance can never be overemphasized. But back to the sport in hand, and those horses know what's coming. They are warming up. The heart rates are rising, the blood is pumping, and sit back and enjoy. And I defy you not to creep to the edge of your seats or leap into the air at some point over the next half or three-quarters of an hour. This is the final. This is the last time we will be bringing you any World Cup action until next autumn, so do enjoy every second. As we allez with Aillaud in Bordeaux. Raising the roof already. So we've got the running total, and that includes, don't forget, these figures carried over from last night. It was 11.57. But for the sake of what is about to come, keep your eye on just the time only. It's a good benchmark as we are into number 4 already. Those of you that have the fast eyes for this, you may be able to see if they're taking the same routes as yesterday. It was pretty flowing, pretty straightforward, designed to be a course where everybody was able to drive their horses forward, keep it harmonious. And that quite tight loop round to number 5, but it didn't really cause any problems last night. Actually, 11, the Oxer, was the one that caused a few more problems, as did number 6. That was a little bit sneaky on the short side there. They have to really go out, and as Boyd said beforehand, that outside rein, keeping the horses from wanting to fall into the action in the middle of the arena. Just checking on those reins, bringing them back up into his hands, shortening the pace, but keeping the impulsion. That's what we want, keeping the power. Clear so far for the Frenchman. He's been here many times before, quite often as a qualified driver in the series. Does specialise in every few years, swapping his horses and teams. He's driven all sorts of breeds over the years. And Ben has said how much he's enjoyed training the Lusitanos, particularly under saddle, very responsive. And of course, the crowd is extremely excited to have him. Out in about 140. But crucially, all the balls have stayed on top and the elements have stayed on their feet, which also helps. Round they run, and yes, that is a clear round to the delight of the audience here and Magali. Well done, Benjamin can do no more for the time being. And there we have it, 174.67. Big smiles, that's what it's all about. It's relief. It's a job well done. Clean, smooth, round, horses and driver and crew behind, all in sync with each other. Didn't look like they were pulling at all. Quite light in his hand. Working well together. And he mentioned that yesterday when I briefly saw him, just how well they have come together to work as one. That's the ultimate aim with these 4. Next we come to, of course, the distinctive red and black of Jerome Voutaz, with Nicole Bezu, his partner, on the top step, and Bruno Nicolas. And those 2 leaders, Nora de la Pearl and Belle du Crepe. Belle, who's been a mainstay for him for a long time. She's 18 now. Nora, a bit younger, learning the ropes next to a very experienced horse there. The girls are 7 and 18 respectively. Left wheel is Flower. That's the name we see indoor and out as well. Flower de Jeunesse, and brilliantly named right wheel, Non-Stop du Paddock. So we've got one very experienced mare in there. In Bell, again, he has moments throughout his driving World Cups when he is absolutely one of the fastest out there, as long as it just all stays together. And he had a pretty good start of the course. Jump, jump, jump on the back there from Bruno. Good horses doubling back on themselves. That It's Nora, the younger one, on the left. And Bell out in 65. We will hopefully be able to bring you some splits soon. Jerome started with 10.42 on the clock. But rather nice to have that 0 sitting in the golden box there. It always drives better the next day. They've had the benefit of the experience, and these clever horses do get to learn the routes themselves. That was a very positive entry into number 10. That's B down, and you have to do a tight loop. Let's see, has he made it? Yes, full circle round that red C gate. And that was a good line there. D's ticked off already, E, and again another loop round one of those flanking gates to F. And everyone's saying allez here. And he's out in 131 or so. So that is quite a bit faster than Benjamin. And can he keep the balls on top? Can he keep himself in touch? But some pretty stiff competition. Might have just left himself a little bit too much to do after last night. But when it goes right for this, oh no, last one, that's brutal. That's brutal, because actually it was going brilliantly until that moment. 168.28. Well, we've now got a total of 172.28. But big smiles, a few waves to their friends in the crowd. Relief. And he's just been released there. And as Jerome always does, he's one of the very, very best at acknowledging the commitment of his power pack horses. They're built to work, these lot. And they do always look like they're enjoying themselves around a World Cup course. So that is enough to put him into first place after 2 on 172.28. Don't forget, this time we're bringing you also includes what's happened yesterday, so you almost have to break it down into 3. Any penalties are added today, what the time is against the clock, plus anything that's carried over. Now, Dries Degrieck came in here really as one of the favourites. Can he claw back? He's got a lot to do. 10.63 is what's on there, but he's going to give it everything as he whizzes on the early part of the course, through 1. All his Belgian fans, he's been rightfully acknowledged in Belgium in recent weeks and months for his incredible input to international horse sport. So time at the moment in what we'll call the FEI box on the right-hand side. But just keep a note of that, because this is one of the ones the next drivers will be watching in terms of the speed and the split times. These live, brave, gutsy horses. Tight on that. Bounce. Yeah, that's F. So he's out of there in 58. Yep, that's good. That's good on the clock. Very good. And he's quite a favourite with the fans, the youngest of our competitors at 29. Horses range in age from 8, 9, 11 to 14. Frankie the Grey up there, who was brought in to replace Smokey. Actually, is now as the oldest horse in the team. So let's see how number 10 goes for Dries today. Not showing any nerves, he's attacking it. No loss of confidence after gathering 12 in there yesterday. So far, so good. Come on, Dries, can you keep it up? Yes, he can. He's certainly going for it here on Sunday afternoon in Bordeaux. Whoa, that was fantastic. If we could just bring you a split screen with what happened yesterday and what you've just seen, that is a remarkable recovery. He held his nerve, and this time is going to be good. Driving so brilliantly to stop the clock. Now that is our fastest time so far. That's exciting. That raises the game. So that was clear. A total of 156.03. So he had that 10.63 to bring on, but the time was very good. I'd love it if we could keep their original times up, because that's actually quite interesting for the analysis. I hope you've got your notepads and paper at home, just keeping a note of what they did. But that was Dries Degrieck, Frankie, Leon, Caneby and Big Star at their best. Tara keeping him right. He's so important to his success this year, and Kim. Oh, I bet he wishes he could have done that last night as well. That was a superb round. So in comes Koos de Ronde, Dries Degrieck. Has he done enough to put himself into drive-off contention in Bordeaux? We will have to wait and see, because they're not going to make it easy for him. Nobody hands anybody anything in an environment like this. Koos de Ronde, Marie de Ronde on the back there, and Jan Mark Von Tibi, Maestosa Zenta, and my goodness, Zenta was a very good horse last night. Favre, Allegra Futa, and Edgar. And what a lovely feeling it must be sitting behind such experience from these horses. They can probably read the letters and know the alphabet. They've done this many times before. One of the older combinations. And what a great advert it is for using horses of all ages. 15 to 19s and a 20 for Tibi. He's just got his nose in front there. He remembers the route. They do have their long striding trots, and that was good. That was probably just a second or two off Dries's time, but that was still a very competitive time. Absolutely keeping himself in the mix. But don't forget that minus 2.4. Dries had that 10.63 to carry over. Koos only had 4.81. You really do have to stay razor sharp to keep on top of actually the totals, as opposed to the live action and the times and the penalties. But that was certainly a green on the split, which is heartening if you are fans of the great Koos de Ronde. World Cup champion in 2013, and absolutely up there at the top of some of our most decorated and experienced international carriage drivers. Also trains the Swiss team, and he's been pretty instrumental in their tremendous success. You might remember how well they did in the singles world championship, but it's all about the horse fours at the moment, and the world's best and biggest names. And he's driving them on, getting every last inch out of them. 154.76. Now, the total just pops him behind Dries. So both went clear, but that goes to show how good Dries's time was. So make a note of this total, which is 157.16. We knew Dries had set a fast time, and it looked like Koos was doing everything right. Very little between them. It's 156.03, just about 1.13 seconds. The difference in the end, 1.57.16 for the Dutchman that we've just seen. Talking of Dutchman, 3, of course, in our final, as we've come to expect for the last few years. We do tend to book their slots year on, year out. The Chardons and Koos de Ronde as our defending champion, who very, very much wants to keep his crown this year, has started off with the win behind him. Oh, look at them. This is what they do so well. They lean in their fitness and agility. I said last year it was as if they flew on the side of their feet, winged Apollos. Yeah, talking to Mara there. Left wheel, Conversano Mara. 2 Favoris in front. 2 newer horses have been integrated, and this crescendo Bram has towards the final. Now, that looked like a ball. I think that was a ball in the sand, a glimpse. Yes, it was. So +4 for Bram in that oxer coming out. Oh, time is good. But Dries has really put the pressure on. He's put the pressure on. There's very, very little between them. Bram started with 4.18. Now we know he can be fast, and we know that he is a multiple champion for many reasons. We spoke of his superpowers, his lines, his precision, his discipline, his planning, and that all translates down the reins to these horses. Everybody is willing him on. I'm sure you are at home. I know there's lots of Bram fans watching at the moment. Oh, that was a wiggle. He knew he got it. He nearly took himself off the carriage. That was a wiggle. Oh, Bram, have you left yourself too much to do now? Oh, he's looking down. Yes, you've just got a good shot there. Those middle oxers have not been very friendly to the great Bram Chardon. Oh, now we're just going to keep it positive, but he's gone into 3rd place. This isn't something we see very often from Bram Chardon. There will be some groans. He's got Ijsbrand and Boyd to come, but Bram now sitting those 2 oxes in the middle. He's on 158.98, and you saw his body language. He flicked himself up in the seat as if just that change of balance and position would save the day, but I don't think it did, sadly, for Bram Chardon. Has probably now put himself out of contention to retain his crown, but somebody who is still very much in contention. Let's just see what happens now with Ijsbrand. Now, as second place yesterday and the closest to Boyd, that difference is 3.7, so it's 1.85. So Bram had, don't forget, 2.09, so that was half of his 1.48. Those totals I was giving you were the differences, and it was 50% they've had added to them. So point, that's it. Now we're getting closer. These two totals are getting closer with the time, as it's 1.85. What can the great man do? He's pulled some fantastic rounds out of his extremely wise and experienced horses this year. 4 on the clock already. Difference with Boyd yesterday, 3.7, which is the 1.85. Bram had 2.09. Koos 2.4 and Dries 5.32. Those are the ones who are now in contention. What is happening with Ijsbrand? He's come out of there. Oh, and there's 8. Oh, has he left himself too much to do? Bit down on the clock as well, plus 5.11. So don't forget, we've got the time, we've got the penalties, and we've got the total from yesterday. Still on 8 penalties, which translates as 8 seconds to be added to that time. Allez, we haven't stopped hearing that through these rounds. Out through F. So those are the 2 marathon obstacles finished. That's Jeanette on the back there. Kendi Casper up front. Mastoso, Mr. and first one behind. Jeanette, I think her velocity and energy is going to add to the speed. Chris on the bottom step. Sweep round to 14. The time is very good. 1:52.05. But the 8 to add, he slots in behind Bram. There we go. We're not going to see Ijsbrand again. He was 3rd at the end of the last series, but the fairy tale that we had. Oh, that was a boot gone. Like an overreach boot flicked off there. There we go. Just enjoy the pictures of the great Ijsbrand, because he won't be in the drive off now. 161.90. I'm sure there's bits of sand and fibre getting in everywhere. Now, the focus, the steely gaze of all of them on the carriage, actually. He said in a quick interview after his winning round last night that winning in a World Cup, or trying to win, is like chasing that pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. And I think we can all agree he's found it several times in his long and extremely illustrious career. Emma Olsen and Juanes. Now, he starts on that 0. He's the only driver, the only competitor that doesn't have anything to carry over because he was our winner. That's how it works. And they're saying get and set and go. And don't they just go, this lot. Bundy up there on the left. Do you think he knew what he achieved yesterday? Next to the American mare, Katie did Duchess, who this is her first series doing this. And she has really risen to the occasion. No. They've had a little bit of a break. Boyd and Preetha and the crew have been overseeing friends and family in Australia, of course, where Boyd is from. Bega. And he's been holidaying and training. So that was his tactic, to get his qualifying rounds out of the way before Christmas and then give the horses and everybody a break. And so far, it looks like that might have been a tactic to earn him another World Cup win, but let's not preempt too much at this stage, because Dries Degrieck is certainly giving him a run for his money, as he has done all series. But Boyd, when it really counts, that's when everything just becomes so tight with him, and he wants this win. And it looks like he's on his way to getting it. Minus 4.26 there, if you spotted that coming up quickly on your screens. He said they felt really good in his hands. They were relatively easy yesterday, responsive, quick off the mark. And it's like they're glued to each other, those wheelers and leaders. They are so tight in. There's nothing scrappy about it, nothing loose. All just happens as it should. Practice and the training, the equipment, the adjustment on the harness. He is an absolute perfectionist. The horse is very willing out of that F gate. They remembered that from last night. They really did. You saw the two leaders almost dancing over in the air, swapping their lead legs. And just look at the haunches of those wheel horses going down. That's where the power's coming from as they're running. That's Barney and Mad Max. Yeah, he's done the good job. 151.24. So that is enough to assure him of his drive-off place. Now, very interestingly, his time last night was 151.83, 151.24. So hasn't shaved that much off his time, but he knew coming in with the mistakes that the others had made, he was pretty much assured, if the game plan went as he wanted it to, that he would be in the drive-off. And you get the sense there might even be a little bit extra. Rain hooked over the ear there, but that's all right. So, to confirm, there will be our first in for the drive-off. Koos de Ronde, then Dries Degrieck, then Boyd Exell. Now, it's been a very long time since we haven't had a Chardon in a drive-off, and I suspect some of you very clever people who do the stats might be able to tell us when, because that's quite unheard of. But Boyd came out, did the same again, drove pretty much the same round as he did last night. Normally, between days 1 and 2, competitions 1 and 2, there's quite a big margin. They do gather a bit of speed as the horses get used to the course and the routes, but actually, it just shows how precise he is and disciplined. Did the same again. He did say, though, in that interview, he had a few more tricks up his sleeve, but he wasn't going to give away his grandmother's recipes. Those were his words. But that is a little bit surprising, but all credit to Dries Degrieck for that incredible recovery. That was the form he showed to win in Lyon and Stockholm, and he has held his nerve. That was remarkable. The mental strength not to let his emotions bubble over, not to get a little bit disconsolate about what happened in number 10 yesterday. That was fantastic. So he has put himself certainly onto the podium, which will be the first time for him, and that's brilliant. And Koos de Ronde, yet again, he has got a top 3 finish. Bram Chardon, we now know, will be 4th. Bram will not be retaining his title. Ijsbrand 5th, Jerome Voutaz 6th, and Benjamin Aillaud 7th. So we don't know quite what's going to happen with our top 3. I'm sure a lot of you are out there guessing. There's a lot between them, between Boyd and Dries. But it just takes a wobble. It just takes a ball and a loss of a line. If one does something brilliant and the other one feels the pressure a bit, it's not over till it's over. The arena here in Bordeaux, when it is full, and it was earlier actually for the Grand Prix, absolutely packed on a Sunday lunchtime. All the seats filled, just shy of 8,000. So confirmation on your screens, competition to drive off in the final, the ultimate World Cup competition of our 2024-25 series, and it has been wonderful. Koos de Ronde, wonderful, wonderful for him. Dries Degrieck and Boyd Exell. So those are all assured of standing on the podium during our prize giving. Just the 3 coming in, but let's wait and see what happens. We're carrying it over, and a little bit of prep going on there. So I don't have to talk too much about what happened yesterday and working out whether it's the time or the 50% that's being carried over. We've done that, and now we move on to this all-important drive-off. Boyd is aiming for his 11th title. It eluded him last year. He first won in Gothenburg in 2019. And then again when the final was in Geneva, 4 times in a row, Leipzig, then Bordeaux. So the final moved around a bit. Koos was 2013, Boyd the next 2 years here in Bordeaux, Ijsbrand then in Bordeaux in 16, Boyd 17 and 18, Gothenburg, then Bordeaux. Bram took his first win 2019 here in Bordeaux, obviously Boyd in 20, and then we had a game of tag between those 2, Bram in 2022 in Leipzig. So we had that April bumper final, which was just getting everything going again after all the delays and challenges of the pandemic over nearly a 2-year period. Then Boyd was in Bordeaux in 2023, Bram last year, but the dream for him to retain his title, something that hasn't happened since Boyd retained his title in 18 from 17. Interestingly, Jerome Voutaz was 2nd then. So time just to have a quick breather as we prepare the arena for the 3 drive-off competitors, Koos de Ronde, Dries Degrieck and Boyd Exell. It is not a given. You've just seen Dries pull everything out of the bag and really challenge, and to come back from that position carrying over those extra seconds from yesterday, that was quite an achievement. We talk about his raw talent. Dries was 10.63 seconds behind Boyd, and that extra 5.32. So that was very impressive. As come back, everybody, get yourself seated and prepared, because in comes Koos de Ronde great achievement from him, just to have the consistency over his long career to be in this final drive-off. And this is Koos de Ronde, of course, Marie and Jan on the back there. We do have a change, of course. I've mentioned that, but just to remind you, in number 4, we lose the E gate, and in number 10, there is no A, which will change how they come in. So we lose an E and an A. So the times will be, if all goes well, a bit faster, as Koos de Ronde drives for the 3rd time here in Bordeaux in the final. He will be on the podium. Which step will it be? Good turn there. Great anticipation. The horses, will they remember? He takes the slightly wider sweeping lines, just their different conformation, the length of leg they have. We thought beforehand this course would suit his horses, and it's played out so far, backwards through B there to get to F, because don't forget, we didn't have to do the E, so that's why you just had that different route there. And playing it safe to get through that ox. Those oxes did not help the Chardons this afternoon. On they go. The feet are thumping and everyone here is clapping. So the running total, that's everything that's happened. Time, keep an eye on that time. We won't have a split at this stage, but that will happen when Dries and Boyd come in. Fresh lines in the sand because we've just had the arena party in. Smoothing it all over. Horse is still looking keen. Forward. And that's F. So, about 115 out of that. Keep a note. Yes, you could just, they do give it away with their body language. He's had a ball there. He obviously looked back over his shoulder, so that's 4 to add. As he finishes off his World Cup through 14, and the clock stops at 141.75, total 306.91. Now, I could tell you what totals I'm being given on my screen, but it's sort of a bit academic. 298.91, 306.91. I think we'll just say that the total is 306.91. You do have to be some sort of mathematician to work out where the lines in the sand are on these final totals. There we go. There was just a late ball. He'd had 2 very clean obstacles, doing everything right. What a great series he's had, and another final. Congratulations to Koos de Ronde. He can do no more. He will have to sit out there in the collecting arena, watch the big screen, let the horses cool down a little bit. But Marie, thrilled. They work so hard, as all our drivers do. Now, Dries, you pulled something remarkable out of the bag moments ago to put yourself into contention. What can you do? It was really quite miraculous that he put himself into the drive-off with a big disadvantage. And he's done it. And he's here and he'll be on the podium. Whoa! There will be nobody coming into the arena after this. This is the last round for Dries Degrieck. Only Boyd to go next. We're closing the show here in Bordeaux. And Dries Degrieck in his drive off in a final, his first one, amazing. Yeah, interesting, different route there. Did you see that was something a bit different? So he's got that nice sweep round and all okay. Everybody wiggled a bit on the carriage, but clear so far. Oh, look at that determination. Everyone glancing back, couldn't see on the cameras. Did it stay on top? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Minus 10.99. Are you sitting down or are you dancing and jumping? Willing him on. Look at the body language and the facial expression. Oh, he's tight on that. Kim is jumped. Oh no, one's gone. Oh, don't do it again to him, number 10. Right, come on, Dries, keep it together. He's got 4 to add, just that knock of that element, so we know there's 4 to add. Gives Boyd a little bit of breathing space when something like that happens. F, and he's out, but he's survived. He's got through it. And in the closing part of the round for Dries, where is this clock going to stop? And it's going to be very, very fast. 1:37.15. Just look at that time. Fantastic. He is assured of a silver, of second place, and he can do no more. What a series for the Belgium. Well done, Tara and Kim, and well done, of course, to Frankie, Leon, Caneby, and Big Star. He must be absolutely delighted. He couldn't have done any more, just an unfortunate knock in number 10. And a bit of a save there on the course as well. That little bit of luck, that does help. Whoops, there it was. Yep, Frankie's quarters just caught that, but it righted itself. Just the horse swung out there a bit. So that is 297.18. Koos is on 306.91. Anyway, he deservedly is thrilled, relieved, and just probably can't quite relax just yet till he sees what happens now with Boyd Exell. He's been here many, many times before, as have 3 of the 4 horses. Sit back and enjoy this and see if it will indeed be an 11th World Cup title for Boyd Exell, and they are off. The clock has started. Sand flying, everything flying. Just the power that it takes. Quick glance back there from Wanis, but so far nothing to add. B. That's C. Ball staying on top, just got them into his hand. They do come back so well. Whoops. Yeah. Through. And out in 52. Are you cheering? Are you clapping? That's some difference. in green there. It's looking good. Everything going to plan for Boyd. Gathers them up and straight into B. Don't forget, we forgot we don't have the A gate anymore. No more A. So straight into B. C. Hey, hey. And there's a double option for the D there. And he took the one nearer the end of the arena. E round the gate. Yeah, horses just gather. Oops! Oh, that was very lucky. That was extremely lucky. Good girl, Dutch. She did everything in her power not to knock that element. Wowzers, and it looks like he's done it. Of course he has. Boyd Exell has done it again. We have our winner. A clear round. Quite incredible. Well done, everybody, to the wider crew, and 11 titles for Boyd Exell. Will his record ever be beaten? Just listen to how the place has erupted. 286.27. It was never, ever in doubt. And he really did pull something extra out during that final round. Congratulations to absolutely everybody, and he's down. Oh, it's a bit pinch me. That's emotional. That is quite something. Jumping down to thank his brilliant horses. And Bundy's just gone on to 101 wins. How's that? Doing it at a final. Incredible. They are just so toned and chiseled, and they really couldn't have done it any better. You might get a chance to see that incredible dodge just as he exited. Yeah, oh, look at that. Now she is going to get extra carrots tonight. That was brilliant. The fall wouldn't have changed the result, we know that, but isn't it wonderful to end on a clear? And good old Bundy got his nose out in front. They've done it. And for all you Boyd Exell fans out there, he's just come back from Australia. I know the Lawrences are there, and I know Sarah Garnett, who has been so instrumental to Boyd getting going over the years. She's watching from home in England as well. There are many, many people that have contributed to the tremendous success of our new, well, once again, World Cup champion, Boyd Exell from Australia. 286.27, Dries Degrieck. Look at that, what a recovery. We'll bring you an interview now.
Okay, so Boyd, you are used to going last, but what's going through your head when you go in last? You've seen the others do their work, and still you're always trying to do even better and going even faster.
Well, when you have such a great leader as my left leader, Bundy, he's just had his 101 victory, 100 last night and 101 from 140 starts. He's like a banker. You can rely on him under big pressure.
I saw you come down and really congratulate each one of your horses. I don't know if you do it every time, but this time it seemed different.
Yeah, for sure. You feel the horses really work for you, and today they tried. They gave me everything. You know, there was one little moment at the end, the Duchess got faced with an element and she tried so hard not to touch it. And she's a new member in the team this year. It's her first season, so she was brilliant. And the wheelers were fantastic yesterday, fantastic today. Like Salmon Transport, fast and furious.
We had a bit of a different scenario today, where you were you had Koos and Dries against you. Was it different for you as well to not be up against the Chardon?
Yeah, I mean, I predicted that Dries and Bram would be the people to watch out for this final. And Dries had everything to gain and nothing to lose. We're coming in fifth place. So he was aiming just to put a flyer in, and if it came off, it would pressure Ijsbrand and Bram, and that's what happened. The pressure went up the line, and those two crumbled, and Koos said, thank you very much. I was just going steady and clear, and I'll take your podium position.
What's next for you?
A little break. Well, I have had a good month in Australia, so I can't say I've been hard at it, but I needed the break to come back refreshed. We chose not to drive at Leipzig, so that we were focused on this one, and the horses were super fit, and my groom Emma did a great job, and yeah, it's a full team effort.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, quite an historic interview there from Boyd, paying credit, of course, to his horses. They tried, we could see that. They gave absolutely everything. And as much as the weekend has belonged to Bundy, great that Dutch got a mention as well. Katie did, Duchess, for her quick reactions and commitment as well. And Barney and Mad Max just keeping that carriage rolling. Everybody doing their bit, and the sum of the parts means that he's got his much coveted 11th World Cup title. The arena has just been cleared. Last few elements, the bridge being dismantled now. Lots of weary people in there. The end of a fantastic few days. 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th we have run here, with lots of jumping, and not just for driving fans, but this is the most remarkable show. The atmosphere beyond this main international arena, huge, probably the biggest of the shopping areas, and it's just packed all the time. The passion that the French people have for horses, be it just casually and amateurs or professionally, absolutely part of the heartbeat of this nation. And talking about heartbeats, well, who knows what heart rate Dries Degrieck had as he was driving that, but all credit to him for, just as Boyd said, throwing absolutely everything at it. He had nothing to lose, and he kind of has that devil-may-care approach all the way through. Quite different to, as Boyd said, Koos was just consistent. I'm going to drive it my way, the way my horses go best. And absolutely fantastic. So congratulations from the team Chardon. Not what we expect to have a Chardon free. There's Jeanette. What happened? I think there'll be a lot of chat about what happened. Leanne and Jeanette there. And we do have another sister, Edith, who's also involved as well, and Bram. So much talent that they all have. But the tactic was right for Boyd. Everybody take a break, him included. Leave Emma to keep the horses and the show ticking over at home in Valkenswaard on the Dutch-Belgian border, right at the heart of so much of horse sport and driving on continental Europe. There's Preetha, who she embroidered like yin and yang. Andrew there, who's been a strategist. Denise does all their social media. Really big crew that it takes. Marie going over to say congratulations. She and Boyd have been working together really closely over the last two and a half years or so, possibly even longer, getting the International Carriage Drivers Association up and running. But everybody can just let the shoulders drop now. We have our result. Boyd has won again. Dries, really well deserved. I think all his fan base around the world, not least in Belgium, will be absolutely delighted. He really deserved that finish, and that's Tom Stockmans, who's often on the team with Dries and Glenn Geertz. Glenn, who was one of our qualified drivers this year, didn't make it into the final, but he's been on the podium as well. But isn't that a wonderful first podium finish for Dries Degrieck, and it will be the first of many. He could be somebody that absolutely challenges Boyd in due course for these many, many finishes. And there's Manu.
You can come on the carriage if you want.
And representative, it's Carolyn Di Stefano. I mentioned her earlier, and the generosity of her company and her family from La Terre de Montaigu, and we see them also at the Lyon event, which for us is our opener. But this is it. Look at those names. It's going to be Boyd again. You can see Ijsbrand, Koos and Bram on there as well. I didn't think Dries would claw his way back, certainly to win this year, but to finish second. And when you're finishing second behind Boyd Exell, who's on that sort of form, that's actually a win. That's like a win for Dries and Koos as well. Oh, hang on, somebody else is going to come on. Oh, it's Karen Scott Barrett. Isn't that lovely? Karen's on the back there, herself a highly proficient driver, and of course her husband Hugh, who is also here and has been so involved. Hugh actually did send me confirmation of the lady who also comes on the carriage and was on with Boyd last night, and that is Arion Bowman, the Bowman family, who actually have supported Benjamin over the years and been tremendous supporters. Her husband Eric as well. And also owners of one of Boyd's horses, Jupiter, who was a leader last year. Yeah, the Bowman family. So great to have her on the carriage. But it's Karen. She quite often gets on the carriage as well in London, where she and Hugh are sponsors. And thank you to all our sponsors, not just in the driving, but across the whole series. It is vital. There's our podium. Emma jumps down. Relief for her as well. Dries, Tara and Kim. And Dries has done brilliantly, considering the horse of his heart, as he says, Smokey, was not able to be in the team. So to come back and achieve this tremendous finish, having had to chop Frankie in just before the London leg, and all these other drivers, Ijsbrand, Bram, Jerome and Benjamin, they have given us the most wonderful series, and we salute them all and their horses. Look at Casper. The stats are out there. He's been in many, many prize givings himself as well over the years. Perhaps not the lineup that we might have predicted, but certainly with the way everything went, the rounds, it was great. Everybody deserving to be where they are. So Bram 4th, Ijsbrand 5th, Jerome Voutaz 6th, and Benjamin in 7th. So not much time for our drivers before they have to start thinking about their outdoor season. We've got Exell as one of our early events. Won't be long before they'll be doing that at home as well as prepping for the final. They will have been getting the other horses conditioned and trained, working out what combinations they're going to be using. We have a European Championship in September. Obviously Boyd is not eligible to compete in that, but the rest of our drivers in here will be no doubt on their national teams as well. And eyes will quite quickly turn focus to the outdoor series. So in Laaden in Germany, we've got a European Championships that will also be playing host to the Para World Championships as well. We've got a Pairs World Championship as well in Bergen, and the young horses. So plenty to look forward to, but this is it for our indoor season in driving. Dressage and jumping still have a little bit more unfinished business. And then if you were listening to my colleague Phil Ghazala yesterday, a lot of the crew, him included, are off to Abu Dhabi next weekend. A little bit warmer and sunnier than what has been rather a dreich Bordeaux this weekend, for some winter sun and the start of the League of Nations and all the global events. Really quite poetic. Absolutely played out to the script. Bundy getting his 100th win last night, 101, and Boyd his 11th. As Caroline comes in, Di Stefano, very generous supporters of this event. And Manu, who's worked very closely with Boyd over the years. His last World Cup final, Manu Banderia de Mello, who's been director of driving for many years for the FEI, soon to step down. And very much a champion of the future, rightly so. Remarkable. If number 10 had gone better for him yesterday, who knows what might have happened. Boyd looked pretty much unassailable over the weekend, but Dries absolutely up there and will undoubtedly take top spot before too long. And Koos, what a rewarding result for him. He's gone through pretty much all the season, took more wild cards than anybody else, plus the 4 qualifiers. So had plenty of match practice with his horses. Odd times had a different one in. But certainly Mechlin and Leipzig did brilliantly and carried that form through. Not to be for Bram and Ijsbrand, just too many balls. But have no fear, they will be back very, very much in contention and turning their attentions to their programme of competitions, the outdoor 3-day events, 4-day events if they're big and have 2 days of dressage. And Ijsbrand still smiling, and has really been the icing on top for so many people this year and for so many years. By some way, there's far more medals than anybody else in driving. Even competed at Ascot back in the day when there was a World Championship there. And Jerome Voutaz, he's just a great competitor. Brilliant at cones, pretty good on the marathons as well, and all that helps. Quite a regular fixture at these finals. And of course, there's a special kiss from his sponsor, Caroline. And a lovely display from Benjamin.
Voilà pour la partie donc épreuve de la lettrine Montaigu. Maintenant, nous allons demander à notre trio de tête de bien vouloir nous rejoindre sur le podium avec à la 3e place, il va, je pense, mettre pied à terre de son attelage. Nous allons appeler Koos de Ronde à venir nous rejoindre ici sur le podium.
So,
dans quelques instants,
our bronze medalist in third, Koos de Ronde. And I think you know what's coming as they're all being given their bottles. And stepping up onto the podium, Dries Degrieck.
Magnifique aussi avec 297 secondes 18 centièmes à la fin de l'histoire. Il n'était pas loin d'ajouter ici à son palmarès cette finale. Probablement encore plus fort, j'en suis certain, 2025-2026. Dries Degrieck avec Tara Wilkinson, Tim Van Order et le 4 chevaux. Voilà la petite photo avant d'accueillir le héros qui est sur le toit du monde depuis maintenant des années et des années. C'est une référence dans le monde de l'attelage. Il est pour la 11e fois sur la plus haute marche du podium. Mesdames et messieurs, Monsieur Exell.
Happy steps. Oh, you know what's coming.
The national anthem.
advance Australia fair.
One more time, Bordeaux Exell in the FEI Driving Water Final. Congratulations, c'est maintenant peut-être que le champagne va secouer le rhum. On va voir ce qu'il nous réserve. En tout cas, le dernier trophée remis aussi par Monsieur Manuel Aillaud.
And another plaque bearing his name will be on the trophy. I wonder if Dries and Koos are going to open their bottles as well. Whoops. There is room for them all up there. Yeah, you could see it coming. Dries was pretty clever. He got out the way quick. Oh, no, he managed to get Marie. So, closing scenes in Bordeaux, but we now know that he's stretched his tally even further. Yes, that was coming, that was coming. He was not going to let him off. That's what happens when you stand on a podium next to Bordeaux Exell. Yeah, right down his back. I wonder if Dries thought he got off scot-free. And once again, look at those fantastic horses just lined up. And we must always pay credit to them and the wonderful life they give all of us that choose to share it with them, bringing people together from all over the world in friendship and fellowship. Oh, Bundy's got a special rug, look at that. Oh, that's pretty special. Deservedly so. Bundy 100. 101 now, actually. So I hope you're enjoying these final scenes from our final in Bordeaux. Thank you so much for staying up late, getting up early, setting your alarms, drinking extra coffees to join us at each of our legs and now the final. We will be back in early November. Obviously, we don't quite have the run of events just yet, but you can assume it will be pretty much the same next year. But don't forget, we do have some pretty special outdoor championships as well. Enjoy your driving and your horses wherever you are. And enjoy these closing pictures coming live to you from Bordeaux. Thank you to everybody at FEI TV, Clip My Horse, and here on site in Bordeaux. It's a huge operation bringing you this live coverage, and then all the social media reels and the clips and the reports and everything afterwards. Many hands are involved in sharing these wonderful images and coverage with you. So thank you to everybody behind the scenes who has kept it running smoothly. Oh, that'll be the cap gone. And we wave off Ijsbrand. I think Bram's already gone. What have we got left in here? There's Koos just on your screens, Boyd and Dries, 1, 2, 3 there. Jerome Voutaz just leaves. You can see the green of Bram just disappearing out of the end chute. And we bid you farewell. I'm Sarah Dance. Thank you so much for everything, and particularly supporting the FEI Driving World Cup. Take care. Good night.